Okay, welcome. I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first item we have is assignment for request for council action. We have 24-135 fund transfer request, cable TV fund, 24-136 grant application, state violent crime grant for the police, 24-137 grant application, Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the police, 24-138 expenditure for Litchfield Heating, Inc. Service Department, 24-139 amend ordinance 108-23 1969 courthouse lease agreement, 24-140 petition to join JED LTC Montville LLC, 24-141 discussion credit card fees, 24-142 budget amendments, 24-143 award CMR for municipal court project, 24-144 amend ordinance 2023 relative to city railroad improvement project, 24-145 increase PO, 2024-1275 Paul Davis restoration for the CHIP grant. 24-135 fund transfer for cable TV. Keith?
Our understanding last year was we wanted to do this as a standing thing, so this is coming back to you what we did last year with the retainer from Rita.
And how much we got, what is it?
Well, the 20% that has to go to 108 is to 108, and then the rest is the 383.7, or pardon me, the rest is the 306.970.
Okay. Well, Jared likes that, I'm sure.
That's a little bit more than last year. I think it
Yeah.
was 2-something last year.
276 or something?
Right.
Yeah, it was 243 the first year.
So Jared, you should be happy back there. Yes.
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 24-136 grant application, 2024 violent crime grant for the police. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for our flock cameras for 2025. The applications are due June 21st, so the emergency clause is requested because that's past due. We're not sure if they're going to send us an application or not. This grant funding source actually reached out to us and offered us the money.
Okay.
So we need to work through that, but regardless, we'll be funded for next year. Thank you.
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 24-137 grant application for Firehouse Subs Public Safety for the police. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're requesting permission to apply and receive. If awarded, this grant will cover AEDs for our cruisers.
Emergency clause, because of the timeline, I think.
Yes, sir. Emergency clause for this as well as the application is due
July
July 11th.
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, including emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 24-138 expenditure for Litchfield Heating, Inc. for the Service Department. Nino?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is for the public restroom. I was just talking with the mayor and President Coyne on when we actually built that. I think it was 2010 or 2011. So it's like 12, 13 years old. That wasn't a new HVAC unit on the rooftop at the time when we built the public restroom. Heat exchangers since failed. Jansen and I have been maintaining that, well, not physically, but contracting it out and paying through public buildings. What I'm asking with this request is to have a new heat exchanger put in. Doug Borling with Litchfield Heating and Cooling has estimated about $7,000 for a heat exchanger kit, which is not terribly bad. The installation would be about $3,200. It does require a crane, a small crane, because the weight of it and getting it up on the roof is quite tall. There's no access. This should last 14 years, according to the vendor. It has about a 350,000 BTU capacity. The only other thing that could go wrong is the blower motor, and that's only a couple $100. So I guess my point in saying that is we'll get longevity out of this heat exchanger kit if we could get that done.
Questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. 24-139 amend ordinance 108-23 lease agreement with the 1969 courthouse. Is this Mr. Huber or the mayor?
I've got it, John. So we've not been paying for the lease, excuse me, with the county courthouse because they were still getting rid of some of the furniture and things inside. So now the building is cleared out, and they're ready to start the payments. So we agreed on July 1st, so we would have the latter 6 months of this year. They've agreed to waive the $70,000 annual security share until we actually occupy the building for municipal court purposes. So this lays that out. It also states that if we intend to create a separate entryway, right now the court staff are going to share the entryway that the Common Pleas Court folks are using. But if we would want to establish our own, then that will be our sole responsibility, so it lays that out as well. And then lastly, for the benefit of finance, rather than us having something else to try to keep track of, I ask if they would bill us quarterly for this, which they've agreed to do, to invoice us quarterly so we can keep track of it and stay on top of it. So I think that's it, unless there's questions. Mr. Huber has actually put together the proposal, which was then reviewed, and a couple minor modifications from Mike Lyons from the County Prosecutor's Office, and Mr. Huber was fine with those changes.
Any questions from anybody?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 24-140 petition to join JED LTC Montville LLC. Kimberly?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is a petition for LTC Montville LLC, the developer, to join the Joint Economic Development District that the city has with Montville Township for a project located at 6045 Worcester Pike Road. And the parcel number is 030-11A-05-008. The developer has completed and submitted a fully executed petition form. The JED board, met on Thursday last week and approved that petition. And this is for, the project is a construction of a new 71,071 square foot, 99-bed nursing home facility. The Medina County Commissioners met on June 11th and approved the tax abatement for the project. And the Montville Township trustees also met last week and approved the CRA tax abatement. So that's the project. It's a significant investment in that corridor and will generate income tax for both the city and the township, and of course the maintenance agreement, maintenance fund with the JED. We are requesting the emergency clause as the developer has a timeline on the licenses from the state of Ohio for the beds, and Mr. David Mitchell is here this evening representing the developer, and if, David, did you want to say a few things? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dave Mitchell here on behalf of LTC Montville. Appreciate you taking this up tonight, especially on an emergency basis. As Kimberly mentioned, we'll be bringing approximately 120 full-time equivalent positions when the building is up and stabilized. We've anticipated or estimated an initial payroll, if that building opened today, of roughly $6 million. We suspect it'll be higher than that when the building's done. We're looking at about a 12 to 14 month construction timetable. If you've been by the site, you've seen us clearing. We're ready to go. It's taken us a little longer than anticipated to get through the JED and county hurdles, and we're really here before you tonight as part of the last step of the JED process. So happy to answer any questions you may have, but really looking forward to participating in the JED.
Thank you. And the JED board, we discussed this, went through it, awarded a grant to LTC Montville of $150,000 for the generation of the income tax that they're going to generate through the JED process. So, that grant will be available once they hit the numbers, and it sounds to me the numbers are somewhat conservative, so it should be easily obtainable within the time frame set forth in the JED parameters of the grant. So It's all a good thing. I think this is kind of great for the JED properties and the relationship between the township and the city and also the developer to give them an opportunity to generate additional funds to help pay for the project. So, anybody have any questions?
Move to approve.
Second, with the emergency
With the
clause.
emergency clause, sorry.
Second includes emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 24-141, discussion for the credit card fees. Keith?
Thank you, Mr. President. I had come before council a number of years ago and asked to pass these along, and you didn't want to do that at that time. I think it's become more common generally, and everybody's doing it, so I thought we'd bring it back and discuss it here again. I know I had to buy a crash report from OSP because I got hit on the highway. They charged me $4 and something for the crash report, and then I'm getting it online, and there's a charge for the credit card. It's not like there's a cash option. Like, what was I supposed to do? They hit me with another $1.75 to get the report. So, I mean, it's pretty common out there that people are doing this. So you understand some of the things that we deal with on the ACH side. The ACH is where it automatically comes out of your, or comes from your checking account. We do those two ways. We have where you can sign up here. That's the cheaper way for the city. It's also cheaper if you get one that bounces. When it bounces through Invoice Cloud, which is the online provider, they add on a charge. And way, way back, I had changed, our fee used to be a set amount, and I'd asked to change our fee to whatever the bank, whatever we're charged, plus $15. So when it's through the bank, they charge us $12, we add on the 15, it's 27. When it's through Invoice Cloud, the bank charges 12, Invoice Cloud charges 15, and then we add on 15, so it's 42. Now, you may be thinking NSF, and that is some of these, but most of them actually aren't NSF. It's any time one of these doesn't go, which actually probably more frequent than NSFs is we get an awful lot of closed account, had identity theft, person's deceased and the bank account's shut down, fat-fingered the account number when they entered it in on their computer. You know, we get a lot of those kind of things that don't go through. It's not just NSFs, it's a lot of other stuff that goes through. We just had one at Border Control today where the person was deceased, they were on ACH. And when it went through and hit their account had been closed because they were deceased, so we get dinged with a fee. So there's a lot there. The numbers are there for what the city's paying. I did talk to Jansen, and Rec Center does not want to pass the fees along down at the Rec Center. That's a little different animal, but for the ones we process here at City Hall, you see for 23, it was a little under $70,000. We haven't really written up exactly how this would work. We can kind of want to see what council's feeling is. If you're in favor, then we'll come up with how we would go about it.
Let me ask you a question. I know that I'm behind the times and everything, but what about the new alternative methods of payment? Where are we at in the city of accepting those, like Venmo and all these other things that people, younger people, I don't want to say younger, maybe more sophisticated, computer savvy people, not Mr. Huber, will take part in? I mean, I guess we're coming to that age, right? This is going to be more common, and I guess how hard is it to do that? I mean, are we
I
going
think
to
the
be able to?
best thing to introduce you to Venmo is if you do a sample transaction to me.
But I mean, I guess I don't know, that's happening, right? And maybe we got to look at that?
Well, I think what we would want to do with this is run that through the vendor where they would pay the transactions fees for those as well. I mean, we could just lump all those in, any payment method that you're running through that system.
I mean, do we get requests like that now? Does anybody come up to and ask for that? Does anybody come and ask for that or no?
No, Apple Pay and Google Pay and things like that, things are asking, and our vendor does do those
Okay.
as well.
Okay, so that happens.
There are fees for that.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I get there's fees, and I understand that we're going to probably have to pass those fees along because, I mean, we can't absorb them any longer because it's becoming more commonplace.
Well, and
20 years ago, it wasn't.
And part of the reason this came up, Jansen mentioned it too, because with the niches going up at the cemetery, most people are paying for those on a credit card. And, you know, when we're selling $1,500 or whatever for a niche, that 3% gets to be a big number, you know? So the proposal that we prefer is option 3, where it's 2.95% is what the customer, there's a minimum of $1.95, and I just ran the math, that would cover about $66. So if you're paying your regular monthly water bill, most people are just gonna be on the minimum. But we do get people who come in who want to pay for thousands of dollars. And we had a guy one time, this was years ago, but came in and wanted to buy a bunch of water connections. It was like $80,000 he wanted to put on a credit card, and I just flat refused it. I'm like, we're not paying credit card fees on an $80,000 transaction, no way. But, I mean, with this, we would say, okay, you can do it, that's fine. It's
Well, I guess the bigger question I would
2.95%.
have is, I think, I can't speak for Brand Council, but I think they'll probably be okay with that, but the question is, how do you inform the public before you implement it? I mean, how much lead time do you give somebody to say, we're gonna start charging a fee, instead of just, when they open a bill, there's a fee? I mean, I think you gotta give notification somehow, I think that would be fair.
We would certainly put notice in the bills, and it's important, I should have pointed out, I mean, we offer ACH through the city that we don't charge the customers for, because that's cheap, that's a lot cheaper for us with the bank anyway, so you always have that option. We have a window if you want to come up here and pay by check or cash, we don't charge for that. So there are, I think that is important, there are free options here. It's not like, okay, everybody's gonna have to
Yeah.
pay an extra $2 on their water bill.
Well, I guess
No,
the
there's-
question is, when do we send out a notice and say, effective October 1st, this fee is gonna be implemented, to give people a couple months lead time to say, this is coming, make your choice? Yes.
Vendors that they would work with us, send out notices, multiple, probably over a couple month period.
Well, what do you think's a good date to do it? Is it October 1st, September 1st? I mean, 3 months?
Well, once this goes through, it would probably be August, so maybe October.
October 1st? Because I think we gotta start putting stuff at the window to say, beginning on this date, you're gonna start being charged. So everybody, the mayor doesn't get a lot of calls, you don't get a lot of calls, we don't say, what are you guys doing? So there's plenty of lead time notice, and maybe, you know, Jared can put it on Channel 4 so people can see it, in Channel 37 or whatever. What do you guys think? Is that a
Yeah,
good
that's
time?
fine with me, yeah. I mean, I
I'm
expect
okay
to
with
pay a fee, expect to pay a fee when I pay bills.
Well, I mean, it's as far as the notice is concerned, I don't
Yeah.
think you'd like to wake up one day and all of a sudden you're.
No, you have to have notice.
Your feed.
I do have one question, Keith. When you email me my bill, I open it up, I go to my bank's bill pay, and I say, pay Keith on such and such a date, whatever that is, this amount.
That's
What
easy.
is there a charge for that?
No, your bank
Okay.
handles that. And the only thing we warn people on, and usually most of the banks do a good job on this, but if you put it to send it on the due date, it's not gonna get here in time.
Right.
No.
And I tell them, pay by.
Okay, as long as they're
Okay.
doing that, because we do occasionally get people where well, I paid it by bill pay on the 20th. Well, yeah, you told your bank to pay it on the 20th, and they mailed it. And a lot of times those are mailed, because it's like a national thing, they'll be mailed out of, a number of them came from Nevada for a while, and, you know, who knows where. And so, yeah, if they're mailing us a check on the 20th, we're not gonna get it on the 20th. But as long as you pay by, then they usually put it a few days, and it's fine.
So along with that notice, John, I would suggest that, okay, on such and such a date, you're going to be charged this if you continue to use your charge card or whatever. But here are some
Here's the
lower
free
cost
option.
and free cost options, and we lay that out for them too.
And we could put
So
that
they
in the
have a
water
choice.
bill too. I
Right,
imagine.
yeah, with the water bill and other notices, put it on the website, things like that, so everybody is fully aware.
Yes, I
Yep.
agree. And I guess the other question is, why doesn't Jansen want to do this?
Well, the rec center's in a little different situation I mean, they're selling something people don't have to buy. And they're, you know, so they feel like it's more of a competitive thing. I mean, people have the option to walk away and go join a different gym or, you know, something like that. So, I mean, that's up to them, but it's a little different transaction. And in our case, and they're making money on the, you know, when they sign people up, they can price it in too, that, okay, when they sign people up, and that's basically what we're doing, but we don't have to, and it seems a little unfair to the people who are paying us the cheaper ways.
Yes, I gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. We'll make it effective October 1st, 2024.
Sure thing.
Anything else?
So the motion, Keith, will be to go with your recommendation on number 3, effective October 1st, 2024.
Second.
With notices going out, as Mr. Rose indicated, that'll be helpful. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 24-142 budget amendments. We have 24-31 transfer to cable TV fund.
So the first one is to pay for that transfer you voted for a few minutes ago.
I
So if you
guess
voted
say
for
yes
the
again.
transfer,
Yep. Motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second one is 24-33, a donation.
This is for Jansen. He wasn't able to be here tonight, but it's a donation from the Medina Youth Baseball Association to help with the field lights.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we just want to discuss the award to CMR, just to give an update on it, I guess, because we don't have anything really to vote on yet, but I think, Patrick, if you can give an update.
Sure. We have received
First of all, qualification statements from 4 firms. This is for the construction manager at risk for the municipal court project. Our group met and narrowed that down to 2 that we invited to an interview. We did conduct those. And then last Friday, those 2 submitted proposals, both technical and price proposals. Our group met this afternoon and reviewed those. We had hoped to come out of there with a recommendation, but the group felt it would be better if we invited both firms in next week to discuss their proposal, to clarify it, and then wait until then to finalize our recommendation.
Correct, and this means that we'll probably vote on it at the next finance meeting and probably have a special council meeting in July to finalize it. Is everybody okay with that?
I suppose.
Okay. All right, so that's where we stand on that one. 24-144, amend ordinance number 2023 City Railroad Improvement Project. Patrick?
Thank you. We did finish the railroad improvement project on Route 18, which consists of a new crossing there by AR Route, and then a whole lot of drainage work from 18 going north 1,000 feet. In it, we ran into a couple of unexpected conditions. We are here asking to increase the contract amount by $19,999.85, and that is split evenly between the 108 fund and the rail fund.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Is that with the emergency clause, Patrick?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And 24-145, increase PO 2024-1275, CHIP grant for Paul Davis Restoration. Andrew?
Thank you. Yes, this is an increase of PO for 30 Circle Drive. It's actually program year 20 CHIP project. This is the plumbing portion of it. There's a $3,200 increase due to the installation of a sump pump and associated work. Thank you.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Before we entertain a motion in a recess into executive session, anything else?
Mr. President?
Who's saying that? Oh, yeah, Mr. Bacola, you did want to go back to
I
yours.
did, if I may. My apologies for item number 5. Just wanted to clarify, I know you had every intention of allowing capital expenditure, capital account to be funding this.
Yeah, 301 account, I think that's what you're trying to target again, so I don't think anybody has any issues with that, do they? No. I guess we need to have warm restrooms in the winter. It's kind of a good thing. It's
Thank
fine.
you for that.
Good for
Fine
them.
with me. Okay, anybody, anything else, since we missed that one from Mr. Bacola? All right.
I'll make a motion at 6:24 PM to go into executive session for 2 purposes. First is to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. The premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal or private interest is adverse to the city. And the second reason is conferences with the law director for the city concerning disputes involving the city that are subject to pending or imminent court action, to include the mayor and the law director in executive session.
Second.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Harjar.
DeSalvo, yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes. Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passed.
We'll be recessing into executive session to discuss what Mr. Shields mentioned. We'll be reconvening in the finance, taking no action of anything discussed in the executive session, and we'll be adjourning from finance, going to council. We are in recess.